Today, we are diving deep inside the human body to explore one of its most incredible networks, the circulatory system. You can think of it as this amazing superhighway, a logistical masterpiece that's keeping you alive every single second. So, let's get right into it. But let's start here with this image. What you're looking at is a real medical condition, sometimes called broken heart syndrome. It's this temporary weakening of the heart muscle that's often triggered by really intense emotional stress. It can feel just like a heart attack, but it's something else entirely. And that, of course, leads to this fascinating question. Can your heart actually break? Well, maybe not in the way a poet would describe, but this powerful organ is at the very center of a system that is so complex and so vital that, well, understanding how it works is really the key to understanding life itself. To really get our heads around this system, let's frame it as a massive logistics challenge. I want you to imagine you're the boss of a city with a truly mind-boggling population. That's the population size right there, 100 times trillion. I mean, that's roughly how many cells make up your body. It's an almost incomprehensible number of tiny, individual, living things. And here's the thing. Every single one of those 100 trillion cells needs constant supplies. We're talking water, oxygen, and nutrients to stay alive. Plus, they all need a way to get rid of their waste. So the question is, how on earth do you manage a supply chain for a city of 100 trillion? Well, that's where the circulatory system comes in. It basically has three main jobs. First, it's your body's delivery service, bringing all those essential supplies to every single cell. Second, it's a waste management system, carrying away stuff like carbon dioxide. And third, it's a climate control system, helping to keep your body's temperature just right. It's doing all of this, all the time, without a break. The whole system is basically made up of three main parts that make everything happen. You've got a powerful pump, that's the heart, a massive network of roads, those are your blood vessels, and then there's the traffic itself, the blood, carrying all that precious cargo. Let's break each one down, starting with the engine at the very center of it all.
All right, first up, the relentless engine of this whole operation, the heart. You see, the heart is what's called an involuntary muscle. So unlike the muscles in your arms or legs, you don't have to consciously tell it to beat. It just does it. It has one job, to pump blood, and it does that job relentlessly. In fact, every single day, it generates enough energy to drive a truck for 32 kilometers, or about 20 miles. You know that classic lub-dub sound of a heartbeat? Well, that's actually the sound of a perfectly coordinated, two-step mechanical process. The first sound, the lub, happens when the top two chambers, which are called the atria, contract. They squeeze blood down through these little one-way valves into the bigger chambers on the bottom. And then, right after that, comes the dub, the super powerful bottom chambers, the ventricles, contract. This slams that first set of valves shut, that's the sound you hear, and it forces all the blood out into the major arteries. Lub-dub. It's a perfect cycle, happening about 100,000 times a day, pumping over 7,500 liters of blood. Just amazing. If you look here, you can see the heart is really two pumps working side by side. The right side, that's the right atrium and ventricle, it takes in all the blood from the body that's full of carbon dioxide and pumps it over to the lungs. Then the left side, the left atrium and ventricle, takes that fresh, oxygen-rich blood from the lungs and pumps it out to supply the rest of the body. It's just a beautiful, incredibly efficient design. So, we have our pump. But where does all that blood actually go? Well, it enters an absolutely staggering road network made up of arteries, veins, and capillaries. Just take a look at that number for a second. 161,000 kilometers. What could that possibly represent inside a single human body? Get this. That is the total length of your blood vessels if you lay them all out end to end. That's enough to circle the entire Earth, not once, but twice. This massive network reaches every single part of you. Now, the main highways in this network are arteries and veins. It's actually pretty easy to keep them straight. Arteries carry blood away from the heart, usually packed with fresh oxygen. Veins, on the other hand, carry blood back to the heart, usually hauling away waste products. But the real magic, the real action, happens in the side streets. These are the capillaries, the microscopic blood vessels connecting arteries to veins.
They are so incredibly tiny that blood cells have to line up in single file just to get through. This is the spot where the actual deliveries and pickups happen. Oxygen and food get dropped off to the cells, and waste gets picked up to be carried away.
Okay, so we've covered the pump and the roads. Now let's take a look at the cargo itself, the traffic that's constantly flowing through the superhighway, your blood. When you actually look at blood, you see it's made of two main parts. About 55% of it is something called plasma. It's a yellowish liquid that's mostly just water, and it's the transport medium for everything. The other 45%, well, that's made up of blood cells. And there are three main types of these cells, and each one has a super specialized job. You've got red blood cells, which are like the oxygen delivery trucks. Then there are white blood cells, which are your immune system security force, fighting off infections. And finally, you have platelets, which are like an emergency road crew. They're tiny cell fragments that rush to a cut to form a clot and stop the bleeding. So you've got the heart pumping, the vessels reaching everywhere, and the blood carrying its cargo. So how fast does this all happen? Incredibly fast. A single blood cell can make a full round trip through your entire body. We're talking from the heart, out to your toes, and all the way back again in about 30 seconds. And that's really the main takeaway here. These three distinct parts, the pump, the roads, and the cargo, they don't work alone. They are a perfectly synchronized system, an intricate biological superhighway working nonstop to keep every single one of those 100 trillion cells alive, the cells that make you, you. So as we wrap this up, just think about that. In the time it took you to listen to this, your blood has probably completed this whole circuit about 10 times. Every 30 seconds, your body completes this incredible journey, and you don't even have to think about it. So here's a final thought for you. What will you do with your next lap?